Hi everyone, welcome back to my channel. If you're new here, my name is Lynn. If not, welcome back. I have survived the great flu of 2026. Oh, I'm not gonna lie, the last 1 week has been really bad. I have been really sick and I will cough at some point in this video, but at least 70% of my mental faculties have returned enough for a video chat. So here goes. In today's Hoya After Hours, welcome to Hoya After Hours. It's unscripted, it's always slightly chaotic, but it's a good avenue in my channel for me to just go off script and not have like an agenda or like basically a script in mind. So I have been basically on my phone a lot the last couple of days because sick, right? So phone and books and Kindle Unlimited, basically. And it made me think about how much like planned social media especially is so focused on getting you to buy stuff. Like buy this new prop box that's like built in with shelves and then with like a grow light, and then this whole setup's gonna cost you $300, blah, 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 blah. Or like check out this new Hoya, or like check out that new Hoya and like it's now available for sale, da 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 da. There's always something new to buy in the plant social media space. And I wanted to make a video today. So I have my candle, I am freshly showered, and I have my water in case I choke and die on my spit and my phlegm. So I'm ready to talk about how to grow your Hoyas cheap and big in 2026. At least these are like my 5 tips. You know, these are my 5 tips. They may or may not work for you, but they do work for me. And they are things that I do practice in my Hoya collecting journey because I have a limited budget. I'm not super rich. I don't spend a ton of money on my Hoyas. And I want to enjoy the hobby and not have the hobby make me feel bad when I am unable to have all the things that other plant influencers have or like other people online have. And I think that's the problem with social media. It gives you the opportunity to aspire to something greater, right? It also gives you the chance to connect with other people who enjoy your hobby. You get to learn from them, you get to aspire to be like them, you get to learn the possibilities, you get to learn their tips and tricks and all of that good stuff. And also you get to make friends along the way, which is also wonderful. But sometimes social media can be really toxic in the sense that it makes us feel bad for ourselves. Like, oh no, I cannot afford that Hoya that everyone has right now. It feels like everyone has it, but actually no, most people don't have it. But it feels that way because of the way the media is portrayed on social media. So I really, really wanted to take this chance to be like super zen with my candle and stuff. It smells so good. I also have like a new dessert that's baking in the oven right now, so this video might be interrupted by a loud beep, but I will be back, I promise. Anyway, back to what we're talking about. Focused. So I do have 5 tips that I follow personally in my life, in my plant collecting journey, to help myself feel more, I guess, mindful about the way I collect and to feel better when I don't have things that other people have, and to help me find alternatives to enjoying this hobby in a way that fits my budget and that is friendly to my budget and my lifestyle, so I don't feel burdened by it, basically. So 5 tips. That was a long intro, but here we go. The first tip I have, and I have everything down like a sticky note. The first tip I have is to buy generic things whenever possible. And when I say buy generic things whenever possible, I mean like fertilizer, I mean like grow lights, shelves, trellises, anything, honestly, just buy generic. If you can, if you live in North America, and I think most of my audience is from North America, so I feel pretty safe in saying this, Amazon is probably your best friend. You can buy so many generic things on Amazon. You can sometimes also find really good deals in big box stores like Walmart, Lowe's. Honestly, Target is fancy Walmart, and nothing in Target is cheap. Well, very rarely it's cheap. Sometimes things are cheap, but like they have to be on like a real sale. But I have usually not have great luck in Target. I think Target in general is for fancy people. Sorry. But if you really want like cheap things, Target's not the place to be. You probably gonna want to look at places like Lowe's, Home Depot, Walmart, places with like a really big garden center. If you're very, very lucky, you might be somewhere where you are within driving distance or walking distance. Oh, there goes that beep. I'll be right back. Okay, I'm back. Not gonna lie, it's smelling so good right now. I have like a apple oatmeal chocolate thing baking in the oven, and it just got done, and it's gonna be good. I think it's gonna be good. Anyway, what was I saying? Buy generic whenever possible. So go to like big box stores, or like Amazon's gonna be your best friend if you live in the US or Canada, which most of you are from my YouTube analytics. If you live in Europe, I don't know the Europe beta, I'm sorry. So sorry, beta is like a climbing term. I don't know the tricks and tips to like shopping in Europe is what I mean. So if you're based in Europe, go follow somebody else and ask them for their tips and their tricks. I'm sorry I can't help you over there. But if you're based in North America, specifically the US and Canada, these tricks and tips are probably going to work for you because they work for me. So buy generic whenever possible. Don't get sucked into like branded stuff. So like, I think there's like Foliage Pro and like all kinds of like general hydroponics, like branded fertilizers. Don't get sucked into that. A lot of very successful growers on YouTube and also in like professional nurseries and stuff, they use very, very cheap general purpose fertilizers. And that's what I use. You can use Miracle Grow, you can use the house brand from Home Depot, you can use the house brand from Lowe's. Currently, I'm using the house brand from Lowe's, but honestly, it's indistinguishable from the Miracle Grow, and like it literally looks the same. It's like blue crystals you dissolve in water. But the same with grow lights. So you have like really expensive like Soltech grow lights and like Sansi grow lights and what's the other brand? Barina grow lights, and everyone's like T4, T8, blah, blah, blah. I don't have any of that. I just buy generic grow lights with really, really good reviews on Amazon. So just go on Amazon, search grow lights, full spectrum grow lights, and then follow the thousands of reviews. And usually when thousands of people review and it's good, it's usually pretty good. And wait for time-limited deals on Amazon. It can really save you like between $5 to $10. Sometimes it's 20% off. Sometimes there's like a time-limited deal and it's even cheaper that way. So tip number one, buy generic in everything. Seriously. Very, very rarely on my channel am I going to tell you that something expensive is worth it unless it really is worth it. And even then, I'm going to try my best to give you like an alternative that's like way cheaper. For example, General Hydroponics Rapid Start is definitely a rooting solution that I highly recommend. And that's probably the one expensive thing that I regularly use and would continue to repurchase. But then again, you don't have to use Rapid Start if you don't want to use it if it's too expensive. You can definitely get the rooting powder from Bonite. Yeah, I think it's Bonite. I'll put it somewhere on the screen. And that works as well. So you don't have to use Rapid Start if you don't want to, but if you have the spare cash to spend and you want to try Rapid Start is a really good product. Again, I talk about mycorrhizae powders a lot. I use arbors. You don't have to use arbors. Once mine is done, I probably will not buy arbors again. I'll probably go buy the next cheapest generic mycorrhizae powder. I think it's all the same. So the same with shopping in the pharmacy for generic drugs. Buy the same generic things for your plants and you're going to save a lot of money in the long run. Tip number two is for all of you people who shop on Palm Street. And I think specifically if you're based in the US, I think a lot of us shop on Palm Street for our Hoyas. So if you shop on Palm Street and you want to save money in 2026, here's a big tip number two for you. Don't get sucked into lives, into auctions, unless you want to. Don't be like, I don't know what kind of Hoyas I want to buy. I guess I'm going to go attend a live. You're going to get sucked into buying something that you don't want because you're in a live. It's like this very happy, sociable environment. You enjoy the seller who's selling you stuff. They're making you laugh. The chat's going and popping and you're in a good mood. And then not just that, they're going to show you like tons and tons and tons of beautiful specimens, maybe even things that you didn't even think you want. But then because they're showing it to you, you're like, maybe I should get it. When it never crossed your mind, not even for a second, that you even wanted this plant to begin with. But then because you see it right in front of you and you're in a good mood to spend money, you end up buying it. That's like the first drawback of lives. Like, I really enjoy lives. They're so fun. But also they tend to like expose you to things that you never thought you wanted. And honestly, a lot of my regret purchases have come from lives where like I didn't go into that live wanting to buy stuff. I just wanted to look at plants, but then you end up buying plants because they look nice or because you're in a good mood, and all of those endorphins are going for you. So don't get sucked into lives unless you want to. Unless you want to. If you don't want to and you're just like looking for one particular plant, don't go into lives because you will end up with other stuff. And other than the fact that like the sellers make it a really nice, pleasant environment, the chat is really nice and like all of those things, lives also tend to make you buy more because they have that like base shipping, right? So the moment you pay for that base shipping, you're like, I already paid for the base shipping. I might as well buy a second plant, and then it's just plus $2 or plus $1 or plus $3. I don't know. It depends on the different sellers. But because of that, you're like, well, I entered this life only wanting one plant, but then maybe I should get two, maybe I should get three, maybe I should get four. And then it adds up from there. The other thing is, guess what? Sellers love to run freebies. And I have won a lot of freebies in these lives. And sometimes you win a freebie in a live that honestly you're feeling pretty lukewarm about. You haven't seen a single Hoya that has caught your eye. But because you want a freebie, you want free shipping, or you want a plant that came with the free shipping, you're like, whoa, but then the new plants are just going to be plus $2. It's such a waste, and you know, it's such a sunk cost fallacy because you never wanted that plant to begin with. You never wanted to buy anything to begin with. So avoid lives for that reason, especially if you're looking to save money and you're trying to buy conscientiously and not unintentionally and like driven by emotion and all that kind of stuff. But if you have money to spend and you want to have a good time, I guess it's kind of like going to Vegas. Then go have fun, go to the live, swipe away and enjoy yourself. But if you're not trying to do that, then avoid lives. The other thing with lives that really get me are the auctions, right? So sometimes people have lives where everything is just a fixed price. So they're just showing you plants and they're like, this is $5, this is $6, and what, so on and so forth. And I think that's fine. But most lives are auctions, and auctions make you feel like you have to swipe. And the worst kind of auctions are snipe modes because you're waiting for like the last second, am I right? You're like waiting for the last second. You're like looking at number and it's like, oh, $10 is not too much. You swipe at the last second and then they add everybody's last second in, and all of a sudden it's $25. Or honestly, sometimes I've seen it jump from like $50 to like $100. And there's no backseas on that kind of stuff. And you just overspend. And I'm not saying like the sellers are trying to be mean or like mean-spirited in any way. They're sellers, they're there to make money. It's their job to entertain you and also encourage you to spend money. So I don't think it's evil or anything, but you as the buyer, you need to be smarter about these things, especially if you're trying to save money in 2026. So that is tip number 2. Don't get sucked into the lives and don't join auctions unless you want to. Then you do you, girl. You do you. The third tip I have on the list is for you to create a mindful, curated list of Hoyas you actually want. So when you see something on Instagram or you see something on Facebook or you see something in a live and you're like, oh my God, I want that. Sit with that feeling for at least 2 weeks. Honestly, if you could go 4 weeks or even longer, even better. But like take that feeling of like, I need this, and sit with it for a long time and not a day. A day is not a long time, for like weeks, to the point that you actually forget about this thought and then it re-enters your mind at some point. And then you get to choose, how do I actually feel about this? Do I actually really want this lacunosa that looks like 12 other lacunosas I have? Sit with that feeling, and then more often than not, you're not gonna end up buying the plant. I'm just saying. So Have like a nice curated mindful list of Hoyas that you want, and don't randomly stray from it unless it's like an obnoxiously good deal. Like we're talking a $15 cutting for a Hoya elephant, kind of obnoxiously good, or like a Madeira green edge for like $20. That's what I'm talking about. But like other than that, stay to your nice, mindful, curated list in 2026 and don't get sucked into good deals that you never even wanted to begin with. Because what's gonna happen more often than not, and like I'm not saying like it doesn't happen where like you buy something and you end up loving it. It happens to me too. But more often than not, you end up buying something that you don't love and that you didn't even want to begin with. And then you end up having to go figure out who to pass it to a year later or 6 months later or 8 months later, you know? So in 2026, try. I'm not saying you're going to be successful all the time, but like honestly, if you're successful, like even 60% of the time, you just saved yourself 40% of impulse purchases. So I'm not saying you're going to be like successful 100% of the time. Like I feel like this is like dieting and exercise. Just do it in a way that's sustainable for you and your habits is all I'm saying. No one's like a strict ninja over here with like their purchases, including myself. But if you try to have a curated, mindful list that you think about, you work on, and you don't just go out buying Hoyas, you're gonna save a lot of money. And here's another thing. You're gonna say, oh, but Lynn, I saw that thing and it's like never been, it's the cheapest I've ever seen. It's not like the most obnoxiously cheap deal, but it is a really good deal, so maybe I should buy it. I will caution you and say maybe not. Unless it's obnoxiously cheap, maybe not, because guess what? The longer you wait, plant prices tend to drop. And anything that's super popular tends to get popularized even more. I've seen people buy Great Fairies like literally just last year for like $2,000 and now they're like less than $150. Just wait. Can you wait a year? There's so many Hoyas to collect. You can wait. Let me tell you, you can wait. Unless you're running a crazy business, you can wait, girl. You can wait. That brings me to the next tip. Tip number 4. If you want to save money in 2026, grow at your own pace. And honestly, I would recommend you start small. So stop obsessing over, is this a 3-inch pot? Is this a 4-inch pot? Is this a 5-inch pot? How many cuttings are in this pot? And like, I want to buy a very lush, full, mature looking Hoya off the get-go because I hate tiny little looking plants. Well, if you have a ton of space in your home and you have a ton of money in your bank account, I say go for it. Go collect all of the mature plants that you have, that you want to your heart's desire. Go buy $500 mother plants. Go for it. But if you don't have that money and you don't have that space, don't get sucked into those mother plant deals and mother plant lives. You can achieve that same result with patience, with going small, and with nurturing the plant all by yourself. You can. And honestly, this is what I've learned as a plant grower over the last couple of years. Do I love mother plants that I just like bought, just like already established in full? Yeah. But honestly, it doesn't quite hit me the same way as growing out like my Obscura Silvers and my Obscura Cryptic Chromes and my Argentina Princess that was like only 2 notes. And like growing out into like a beautiful mother plant. That journey is gonna feel so much more satisfying for you. It might not feel that way in the beginning when you're trying to grow out this tiny little cutting, but I promise you, with time, you're gonna feel a really deep sense of satisfaction about how like you managed to grow this beautiful thing all by yourself. You didn't buy established, it wasn't mature. You put in all of that work into this Hoya, to this plant. It is your labor, and this is the result from your labor. And it's going to be so exciting and so satisfying in a much deeper, more meaningful way than spending a ton of money on a mother plant. That's just my hot take. Maybe you don't agree, and it's totally fine if you don't agree. Just comment down below. And this is YouTube. We're allowed to believe in different things and go about our day doing different things and our lives doing different things and have different beliefs. It's all good. Just out here having fun. Water break. So anyway, if you want to save money in 2026, here's how I save money. I save money by buying smaller cuttings. So like 1 note cuttings, 2 leaves or 1 leaf, whatever. I root it out myself. In general, every time you root out a fresh cutting by yourself, it's also cheaper that way. So I root it out by myself. I grow it out myself. I cut extra cuttings myself. I propagate myself. And then I grow it into a bigger plant myself. And time is money. So if you don't want to spend the money, you got to spend the time. My last and final tip for tonight is to shop local whenever possible. So if you're living in a sizable town or you're living next to a local nursery or somewhere where there's a nice concentration of Hoya growers and Hoya lovers, try to shop locally. So shop from like other collectors like yourself. They're usually going to make it cheaper for you because they're not running a business. They're not trying to make a profit most of the time. Sometimes they are, but most of the time they're not. They're just here to share cuttings, or they're just here to trade cuttings, or like all that kind of stuff. Sometimes you can just cut a plant that you have that they don't have, that they want, and then you guys can just trade cuttings and then it's free basically, right? Girl math. So shop locally whenever possible. You're going to avoid tons and tons and tons of money spent on shipping and credit card fees and all that kind of stuff. So if you can shop locally and just give somebody the good old dollar and just go to their home or go to a coffee shop and meet them there and be like, here's your cutting, give me my cutting, you're going to save so much more money that way. And as an added bonus, well, actually, if you're an introvert, this is probably your worst nightmare. I am an ambivert. I used to say I'm an introvert, but I don't think I'm an introvert. I'm an ambivert. Sometimes I am extroverted, sometimes I'm not. I would say I'm an ambivert leaning more towards introvertedness, and meeting people is very stressful for me, but I have forced myself to come out of my shell, to meet people and to go to plant swaps and to like learn what other people are doing, what other people are growing, and to see what's going out there and like meet people in my community. And it's been really fun that way, even for an ambivert like me. But yeah, shop locally whenever possible. You're gonna skip out on a lot of shipping fees because those shipping fees really add up. Like imagine this, you pay a base rate of $15 for the first plant, and then every plant you buy after that is $3. If you buy 3 plants, that's 15 plus 6, and that's $21 just in shipping. If you took that $21, you could buy like 2 different cuttings from a local seller, or maybe just 1 rarer cutting from a local seller instead of just dumping it into shipping. So that's all I'm trying to say, like shop locally whenever possible. But you know what, some of us, we live in really small towns and there are just not that many Hoya sellers near us, and online shopping is the only way. Then that's the only way, that's fine. But here's what I would recommend too. Drive around any kind of big box stores that are near you. Sometimes you're like really, really rural and there's like, girl, there's no Walmart here. My grocery store is also the gas station, which is also the library. Then that's fine. Then I guess you have no choice but to shop locally, but to shop online, I'm sorry. But if you have other options, try to use those other options instead of buying them online. So those are my 5 tips. My dessert is waiting for me. I've been waiting for it to cool down and I think it's ready for consumption now. So I'm very excited about that. I hope all of you are doing well in this really bad weather that's hitting the US. Honestly, I hate the accidents and I hate like the trouble that this brings to a lot of people with mobility issues. But on a more personal level, I actually love winter. So low key, it's been nice. It's been nice. But what I don't like is how it's inconveniencing people who have mobility issues who cannot clear their driveways. And winter is just an absolute nightmare for them. Also for people like, I used to be in healthcare, we have to go to work no matter what. So for essential workers like you guys, I know winter is horrible. Like you have to wake up at 5 a.m. and drive and all of that kind of stuff. It's really dangerous. So be safe out there, stay warm, and take care. Please take care of yourself. Enjoy. I hope you've been enjoying 2026 so far. It's been kind of rough for me, but I'm feeling better again next to this candle and talking about plants, I feel kind of like nice and zen right now. I'm gonna go enjoy my dessert. Have a wonderful night, and I'll see you next time. Oh, and please like, comment, and subscribe if you enjoy the Hoya After Hours series. And also share with me your tips and tricks for like saving money when you're like trying to grow up your plants, or like having a plant hobby in a more sustainable way financially. Yeah. Good night. Bye.